Hello students, welcome to Triveni Memorial Senior Secondary School online classes. Today we are going to start chapter 8 of unit 3, components of computer system. In this chapter we are going to learn about the various parts of computer system. A computer is an electronic device that can perform variety of tasks by executing a given set of instructions. It can handle multiple tasks at a time, it can handle calculations, it can play music, you can do painting in it, you can manage data and files and develop various applications. It is also able to execute various tasks due to its characteristics like high speed, not making mistakes, high storage capacity and versatility. Now we have some basic components of computer system. The computer works on the IPO cycle. I stands for input, P for processing and O for output. So input is given by the input devices, processing is done by the CPU which consists of the other components also, and output unit provides the output. The input is given through the input devices like keyboard and mouse, and in human being the input is received through eyes, nose and ears. Similarly, like human being has brain for processing the information, for saving the information, for doing the calculations and controlling the functions of the entire body. In computer we have the memory unit in CPU for storing the information. We have ALU, arithmetic and logic unit, to perform the mathematical and the logical operations. Then we have the control unit which control the functioning of the components of a computer. Next we have is output unit. After processing, the output is displayed on the monitor in the form of soft copy, and if you want the hard copy, the printout help us to take out the hard copy of that output. And in human being, the output in the form is given by mouth with the help of voice and actions, right? Here you can see the block diagram of computer, that is input unit is providing the data in instructions, then it goes to CPU for processing, which is being handled by control unit which is coordinating with ALU and MU, and secondary storage devices also helps to store a large amount of data, and then whatever the information has been processed, it goes to the output unit which displays the data on the monitor screen, right? So these are the components of the computer system. Now our computer system comprises of two things, one is hardware and the other is software. So hardware are the physical components of a computer that you can touch and feel, then you can see, but you can touch and feel them, like your CPU, keyboard, mouse, etc. Whereas the software refers to the collection of programs that instruct a program how to perform the different type of task. Now here we have two types of software, one is the system software and one is the application software. When we talk about the system software, it is a software which handles the functioning of the full system, like your operating system is there. And when we talk about the application software, it is a software which works on the particular application. Like we have MS Paint, its main work is to do painting. We have MS Word, the main work is to prepare the documents. So application software is made specifically for a particular work, right? Next we have is parts of computer. As we have discussed about the input unit, it comprises the devices that are used to provide the input to the computer. They convert the information which is being given by user into a form that is understood by the computer. Computer understands binary language, that is a machine language, in the form of 0 and 1, which is done by the devices like keyboard, mouse, scanner and joystick. Next we have is the output unit, the devices that are used to display the output, that is your monitor, printer, this is your plotter, headphone and speakers, right? Next we have is CPU. It is the main unit of the computer which controls the internal and external devices of the computer and perform the arithmetic and logical operations. Due to the small size, CPU is referred to as a microprocessor, and it is a type of integrated circuit built on a tiny silicon chip. This is your microprocessor which is put in the CPU, and the latest version will help you to increase the speed of your CPU and will help you to do the work fastly. Okay. Next we have some components of CPU, that is arithmetic and logic unit, control unit and memory unit. As the name suggests, arithmetic logic unit is used to perform the calculations, that is addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. Greater than, less than, these are the logical operations which can be done with the help of it. Then we have the control unit, which controls the operation of every other component of the computer system. It controls the transfer of data. It checks from where the input is coming, where to give the output. So this is the working of the control unit, to check and control the working of the system. Next we have is memory unit. It is the storage of the computer which help us to store the data and instructions. The storage devices, secondary storage devices, store the data permanently, whereas in primary memory the data is saved temporarily. So the two types of memory are the internal memory or the external memory, or which you can see primary memory or the secondary memory. Then we also have registers in the memory unit, which is a very small data holding place in the processor. It holds the instruction, storage, addresses, data, and there are various types of registers like your accumulator, data register, address registers, and program control, right? Next we have the explanation of the memory unit. When we talk about the memory unit, we know that there are two types of memory. One is the internal memory, whom we call it as primary memory also. It consists of two memories, that is RAM and ROM. Now RAM stands for random access memory and ROM stands for read only memory. Now what is RAM? RAM is a type of computer internal memory that can be accessed randomly. Suppose you have opened MS Word and you have written a paragraph on My School in that file. So till the time you have not saved the file, that where will be that file? That will be in the RAM. RAM is a volatile memory. Suppose you have not saved the file and suppose suddenly power gets off. So whatever you have written, that will be erased. You will not be able to get it back. Like you have a blackboard. Blackboard is like a RAM. It is overwritten with the new data. Suppose teacher has written 4 sums on that one and after the teacher has erased it, you cannot get them back. Same is the case with the RAM. That is why it is known as a volatile memory. So we have the types of RAM here, like DRAM, which is the dynamic random access memory, and we have the SRAM, that is static random access memory. Dynamic RAM stores the data temporarily and the data is lost when the power supply is suspended, and static RAM in which the data is refreshed, so it helps us to retain the information. Okay. Next we have is SDRAM, that is synchronous dynamic random access memory. It uses a synchronous interface. Time to time whatever work is being going on, it retains that data and improves the efficiency of the computer. Then we have DDR, that is double data rate memory. It is used in the Intel Pentium 4 system and requires less power and has a speed which is double that of the SDRAM, right? So these are the types of RAM which we have learned, that is DRAM, SRAM, SDRAM and DDR. Next is ROM. ROM stands for read only memory. It is a type of memory from which information can only be read, whereas in RAM the information can be read from and written into it. In RAM we can type anything, we can make changes and we can read the information also. But in ROM it is only readable, we cannot make the changes. Now what is the main use of ROM? It is during the booting process. So this is the initial program and it helps to start the computer when the power is turned on. So it is a non-volatile memory. Generally you must have seen that when you purchase a new computer, when you start it, the instructions are being, black color screen comes and on which instructions are there. So that time the computer is getting started, it means that is getting booted up. So how this thing is being done? Because it has ROM in it. So ROM has the instruction in it which cannot be changed. They are fed by the manufacturer and they cannot be changed by the user. So as soon as you switch on your computer and the booting process starts and the computer gets started with the help of ROM, right? Next we have again the types of ROM as we have discussed in the RAM. We have PROM, that is programmable read-only memory. The contents can be programmed using a special device known as PROM programmer but can be done only once and cannot be modified later. Then we have EPROM, that is erasable programmable read-only memory. It can be erased and reprogrammed repeatedly with the help of specialized software. As the name suggests, erasable. So whatever the content is there in this ROM, we can erase it and feed it with a new content also by exposing it to ultraviolet rays. Then we have EEPROM, that is electronically erasable programmable read-only memory, and the contents can be created and reprogrammed in blocks. In the EEPROM, what we were doing byte by byte. Here the small part of the byte is blocks in which the program is being made, and it also has the provision of selective removal. It means suppose you don't want to remove the whole content, you can just select some of the content and remove it, right? Next is flash memory. Flash memory is a special type of EEPROM which maintains the stored information even without a power source. The contents can be erased and reprogrammed into big sections, making it faster than the regular EEPROM, right? Next we have, in the memory unit, we have learned in the internal memory, that is your RAM and ROM. We also have the cache memory. Here CACHE, it is pronounced as cache. It is a special high speed memory. Suppose the data is being needed by CPU. So first of all, what it does is it will put the very important data in the cache memory, and from there the data can be very easily taken and can be accessed upon, and it is well worth getting a CPU with inbuilt cache memory so that the system performance can be improved. Then we have the external memory, and also known as the secondary storage. External memory is known as the auxiliary memory or the secondary memory. Unlike the main memory, it is the permanent storage of data in the huge amount. Whenever required, the data gets transferred from the secondary memory into the primary memory. Basically, secondary storage, we have the hard disk which is inside the CPU. Whenever we save any file, where does it go? It goes into the hard disk. Okay. So whenever the file is saved, it goes to the hard disk, and the particular files which are there in the computer, that can also be put in the pen drives or the CDs or the DVDs. These are the secondary storage devices. In these, the data is permanently stored, and whenever it is required, it can be plugged into the CPU and can be put in the computer's main memory, right? Next we have is the units of memory. Like you have the unit for the length or the distance, same way for the memory also we have the units. Like computer, all of you know that stores the data in the form of binary digits, that is 0 and 1. So 0 is a bit, 1 is a bit, say all these are bits. So group of 4 bits is called a nibble, group of 8 bits is called a byte, and 1024 bytes, 1024 is 2 raised to the power 10, that is 1 kilobyte. 1 megabyte is equal to 1024 kilobytes. Similarly, 1 gigabyte is equal to 1024 megabytes. 1 terabyte is equal to 1024 gigabytes, and so on. 1024 is 2 raised to the power 10. If you multiply 10 times 2, it will give you the answer as 1024. With this, we have covered the explanation of the chapter. Now let us move on to the exercise part. The first question says a CPU does not consist of ALU, HDD, CU, MU. So the answer to this is CPU does not consist of, it consists of ALU, CU, that is they are asking about the component. So HDD is not the component. Next is 1 terabyte is equal to, that is equal to 1024 gigabytes. Third is which of these is not a peripheral device. Peripheral devices means the devices which are externally connected to the computer. Modem, Bluetooth or printer are connected to the computer, but register is inside the CPU. So register is the correct answer. Control unit is also called the dash of a computer. It is also called the central nervous system. Then we have the true or false. First is a microprocessor chip contains millions of transistors. Yes, the chip contains so many transistors. This is true. Second is the output can only be in the form of hard copy. The output which is being shown on the monitor is the soft copy. It can be in the form of hard copy. It can be in the form of soft copy as per our requirement. But here it is written it is only in the form of hard copy. So this is false. Next is the speed of CPU is determined by the number of instructions it executes per second. Yes, speed is determined by this thing. This is true. AC, DR, AR and PC are types of registers. Yes, it is also true. The printed information on the paper is called soft copy. The printed information is called hard copy, not the soft copy. So it is false. Next we have the question answers. Question answers need to be done in the notebook. A and B part, MCQs and true false, to be done in the book itself. First question is, what is the function of CPU? So we have learned that CPU is the main unit of the computer which processes the information, which stores the data, which controls the functioning of all the devices which are connected to the computer. So write down the function of CPU from this part, where it is told about the central processing unit from this paragraph. Next is, what are the components of CPU? We have learned about the three components of CPU: ALU, control unit, and memory unit, and registers also. Write about them, explain them in 2 lines each. Then we have, what is a register? Name some of them. We have learned that register is a small data holding storage place where the data can be stored and which can hold the instructions. The different types of registers are AC, DR, AR, and PC, right? Then we have the next question as, what is the difference between RAM and ROM? So draw a line in between and give the heading, one side RAM, next side ROM. First difference is the full form of both: random access memory, read-only memory. Second difference is, RAM is a volatile memory, ROM is a non-volatile memory. Third difference is that whatever the content is being written in RAM, that is lost when the power is off, but it is being retained in the ROM. In ROM, the data is stored permanently, whereas in RAM, the data is stored temporarily. Okay. Last question is, what are the various units of memory? So we have learned about the various units of memory here: nibble, byte, kilobyte, megabyte. Write down this all in your notebook. I hope this chapter is clear to you. Thank you, students. Have a good day.